Hi, I'm Tanya. Right now, due to the COVID-19 crisis, we're all facing lots of uncertainty and many changes to our normal lives. Our kids too are experiencing these challenges and hearing lots of potentially frightening things on the news or perhaps from overheard snippets of adult conversations. So how can we best help our children cope during this confusing and challenging period? Here are a few simple tips. Limit your news viewing, particularly via the television and internet news feeds. Once a day is plenty to catch up with what's happening. Too much news consumption about threats and disasters can elevate people's anxiety to unhelpful levels. And it's especially not good for kids to see a lot of this. Don't talk about frightening news stories or fatalities in front of your kids, even if you think they're not listening. Expect your kids to ask questions about COVID-19 and try to answer these as honestly as you can without causing alarm. Use a calm, reassuring tone and stick to the facts. It's a good idea to ask them what they already know about the virus because this gives you a great opportunity to correct any misunderstandings they might have. Reassure them that although some people do become very sick from the virus, most people get cold-like symptoms and some people have no symptoms at all. Consider the age of your child when providing answers to questions. For younger kids, keep things simple and brief. For example, yes, some people are getting sick from a germ. It makes them cough and sneeze. The sick people are being looked after really well by doctors and hospitals. For older children, you might want to provide more details and clarify how the virus spreads. For example, the virus spreads through coughs and sneezes and by touching objects that have been infected by these droplets. Also explain how people and kids can help. Explain that using good hand hygiene and practicing social distancing are great ways to beat the virus. Don't alarm children with details about mortality statistics or severe symptoms. And it's probably best not to have these types of discussions right before bedtime. Try to keep a stable routine for kids. This one is tough at the moment. Kids feel safe and secure when they have a consistent routine. Children need to be getting up and going to bed at around the same time each day, eating meals regularly, and understanding what type of activities they're going to be doing during their day. For example, when they're expected to be working on their schoolwork and when it's going to be time to play. Kids will also respond well to a nice calming routine before bedtime each night, perhaps involving a quiet game or reading a favourite book together. This will help them keep feeling secure and promote better sleep for both them and you. Encourage your kids to do some physical exercise each day and make sure you do some too. Going for a walk as a family or throwing a ball around in the backyard are great ways to get exercise whilst connecting, and it's terrific for mental health. As a family, focus on the things you can do to help the situation and reassure your kids that people everywhere are working together to keep each other safe. If your kids are young, it's great to explain to them that they can be safety superheroes or wellness warriors, and that will help them embrace doing their bit to beat the coronavirus by washing their hands regularly with soap and water, coughing or sneezing into a tissue or to their arm, and staying at home unless they have to go to school or an appointment or be somewhere with mum and dad. Remind them of the things they're doing to help and praise them for this. Extended family is really important for children. Help your kids reach out to grandparents and aunties and uncles through phone calls, social media, or video calling. It's also a great idea to go old school here. Grab a heap of craft materials like pieces of cardboard, texters, glitter pens, glue, and old magazines, and encourage your children to make a card for someone special. This can be especially useful if a child is missing Nana or Pop, or perhaps is worrying that Grandpa or Grandma is missing them. You can send the card in the mail or perhaps drop it in their letterbox and wave to them if they live nearby. This type of activity will allow your child to feel a sense of pride in that they've done something meaningful and important for someone else, and it can help them feel connected and valued. If your little ones are missing friends or cousins, try to set up a Skype or FaceTime playdate for them. Kids can entertain each other pretty well in this way, and this will give you and some other parents a bit of a breather too. For teenagers or older kids, encourage them to stay connected with their peers through appropriate social media, texting or video calling. Perhaps consider allowing them to use their devices a little more in the evening to connect with friends than you normally would, as long as they're not staying up too late. Peer connection is really important for kids of this age, so this social isolation can feel especially harsh for them. Ask them what they understand about the current restrictions and open up a conversation about how, right now, it's important for people to work together by staying apart. Listen to their concerns and let them know that you understand their frustrations. Talk to them about how, even though teenagers aren't particularly susceptible to the virus, isolating helps protect everyone, especially the most vulnerable members of our community, like their grandparents and great-grandparents. Try to set aside some time each day, doesn't have to be long, to engage with your kids and do something that they will consider special. Try out some simple craft projects, even if it's just drawing or colouring in or gluing magazine pictures onto paper. Work on some puzzles, play with the Lego or the dolls, kick a ball around in the backyard, or even get them to teach you their favourite video game. And when you're doing these things, even if it's just for 15 minutes, try to be really in the moment with them. When you start worrying about what's for dinner or problems at work, bring yourself gently back to the present. Listen to their stories, watch their faces, notice their reactions when you're really tuned in with them. Doing this will ensure that something your children will take away from this crisis are a few really special memories that are likely to last a lifetime. Most of all, remember that kids learn mainly from modelling, and the people they model most are parents and caregivers. So what does modelling mean? Well, it just means watching the people closest to them navigate the world and doing what they do. What your kids are learning from you right now is far more important than reading or writing or maths or science. They're learning how to cope in a crisis and how to deal with adversity. So this period of time can be a wonderful opportunity to model some really important behaviours and skills for your kids. For example, problem solving, compromise, creativity, and adaptability. Now, we know that it can be really hard when the family is suddenly having family time all the time and everyone is home together for extended periods. This is really tough. Be kind to yourself and relax a few of your guidelines around things like screen or device time for your kids. In the grand scheme of things, this will be fine. It's very important to look after your own emotional health right now by setting aside a little time each day to do something you really enjoy and value. This can help you top up your resources. It's a bit like putting your own oxygen mask on first on the plane. If you lose your temper and snap at your kids, show yourself some compassion and know that you're doing your best at a really difficult time. Think of this as an opportunity for talking to your kids about frustration and anger, which are natural human emotions, and showing them that it's okay to mess up and apologise. If you're feeling really overwhelmed, set your kids up with a safe activity, leave the room for a few minutes, and try a short, simple grounding exercise like the one we've provided on this webpage. We really hope this information has been helpful. We'll attach more videos and tips here in the weeks to come. In the meantime, stay safe, and despite all of the uncertainty outside your door right now, do your best to create a predictable routine as much as possible. Model kindness and calm as much as you can, and try to make a few special memories too. Thanks.